Hello my fellow gamers and Going Medieval fans, my name is Peter and in this guide I will explain to you how to min-max your settler stats in order to get villagers with high potential and make them highly specialized. I will also explain about the game mechanics of perks and learning speed and point you to what stats you should care about and which don't matter, at least not in this version of the game. One such surprise is the fact that the age of the settlers doesn't matter, but more on that later. You will get to see how to min-max your settlers for the normal game, which starts with just 3 villagers, but also how to set up your settlers for a custom game with up to 10 starting villagers. This guide is a hot request from you, my viewers, and one I planned on doing from the beginning, as I mentioned in my first guide on how to start in Going Medieval, which if you haven't watched, you can find on the playlist link up here and in the description. So let's start with a standard game on the normal difficulty, with default supplies and a healing map. As I mentioned, here you get just 3 villagers to start with. You can look them over, but most likely you didn't get great ones to begin with. Ideally, for a spring start, one would have high botany skill, second construction, third intellectual with high learning capabilities on all of these. High learning capability is represented by the single and double stars. I already explained why those 3 skills are important to start with in my how to start guide, so I won't spend time on that again. The age of the settler truly doesn't matter, right now at least, because they won't die of old age on you. A large villager and a small villager will do the same amount of work, so height and weight also don't play a part beyond the cosmetics. Currently there are no children in the game, so a mix of genders isn't important. Since you can only randomize the settlers and not directly set stats, skills and perks, we will have to do this many times to min-max them. Let's start by looking for a high botany skill with a perk Green Thumb, as this is a good combo. A few tries later and we struck gold. Well, in this case more like green. Botany 14 with 1 star for passion skill learning and a number of other skills leveled up alongside that Green Thumb perk. That one means more plants harvested and a lower chance that harvesting will fail. Failing to do something is an actual game mechanic and it can cost you a lot, because you lose resources wasted in the failed attempt to build, harvest or mine, for example. Next you need a settler with high construction or intellectual skill and high learning capability for them, whichever one shows up first. This one has high intellectual skill with 1 star as well as construction, just with a lower skill level. The perk Brownie adds to a bunch of stats, movement and work speed being the most important ones. The Swigger perk even makes him work faster after having a drink, which is an amazing combo. Again, multiple skills have some levels on them, which is great. Now we need that settler who is going to be the builder. Funnily enough, we get an even better future researcher because this settler has double stars for intellectual, meaning she's very passionate about research and will level up intellectual even faster. This means we need to go back to the second settler and re-roll him. Again, as if I rigged the RNG, we get a settler who is very passionate about constructing. His skill is not that high, but he has 2 saving graces, high botany skill with 1 star and the Green Thumb perk with a massive skill level for tailoring. Once you have set up all 3 settlers, it's time to look for some secondary skills, which you will need after just a few days of game time, like cooking, mining, marksman, melee, medical and others in next seasons like animal handling, tailoring, smithing and carpeting. Our third settler has 8 cooking and melee, a bit of construction, mining and carpentry. The second one has smithing besides insane tailoring and good medicine and melee skills. The first one has very good botany with learning capability, high carpentry, intellectual and melee, good construction, animal handling and smithing. When you combine all of these skills, only mining and marksman are low, which is something you have to live with as there are too many skills and too few settlers. So when you get an opportunity to add a new settler, which I explained in my previous video, linked up here and in the description, look for settlers with those skills. And if you have found this video helpful so far, please consider liking it, feel free to leave questions or suggestions in the comment section, and subscribe to see more videos like this. Now before I explain the min-maxing of settlers for a game with up to 10 villagers, I will talk more about the perks and the stats they change. Because the game is in active development as we play it, I don't want to go too deep and specific into all the perks, as they might get changed and this information would be outdated then. I have left a link to a spreadsheet with the current perks and their effects in the description below. Alright, so in broad strokes, here are the important tips. As you noticed yourself, some perks are solely negative, some positive and some mixed. Some affect just one stat, other multiple ones, and even unrelated ones. And then there are the ones which are descriptive and don't specifically show what they do. Currently the ones you want are the mentioned Green Thumb for a combo with Botany skill, Brawny with Construction, and Erudite with Intellectual. That one even stacks with those stars, showing how passionate a settler is about learning that skill. But having those perks on any settler is a boon. The ones to definitely avoid is contemplative because of the negative mood, and cannibalism for obvious reasons. Unless you're into that kind of a playthrough. I bet cannibals don't get a negative mood modifier, so a dead body, but a positive one like, I don't know, lunch is served. Would that be a fun video to make and then get blocked on YouTube 2 minutes after posting it? Anyway, let's move on to a start with 10 settlers. With so many, you can specialize them even more than in the previous example. Randomize each until you cover every important skill with at least one settler who has a high skill level and high learning capability for that skill, meaning 2 stars. Our first one ended up being a great smith who doesn't like the cold, has a green thumb, and other less important positive and negative perks, and more skills with stars and good levels. Next one rolled as a very good intellectual, but my third settler has similar stats and better perks, so we have to re-roll the second one. After some time, we get a great tailor with not too bad perks and more good skills. Third one is already set, so we go on to the fourth. Many rolls later, we have a bona fide medieval healer who is also good with a sword. Perks show a low appetite for food but high for excitement. This is basically how you continue until you have rolled all 10 settlers who are both highly skilled and very passionate about one skill, with appropriate perks where applicable if you have enough luck or patience. And so after many more rolls, we have ourselves a cook, a hunter with botany skills, another botany expert, another hunter, a very smart and talkative miner, and an expert builder. We don't have a dedicated carpenter, but a few have that skill to some extent. Speechcraft has yet to be fully implemented in the game, as well as most of the animal handling skill, so keep that in mind when rolling the dice for skills. When you start the game with these 10 specialized villagers, you still have work to do before you have min-maxed them properly. In their job screen, you must give high skill level priority for corresponding jobs, while also decreasing the low skill job priorities. Right click to lower, left to raise. The reason you are doing this is for the smith not to do any other job if there is smithing to be done, while other villagers who have low smithing skill won't try to do their job and fail at it. Same with practically all skills in villagers. Do take note that botany is a skill used in several jobs: growing, harvesting and cutting plants, while convalescence is not a skill but bed rest for the villager to get better when wounded. The steward and hauling jobs also require no skill but are vital and have to be done from time to time. These can be set to even priority of 1 because they are last on the list, and if the villager is not, for example, hunting, if that is his main specialization, he will do the next highest priority going from left to right on his job list. After a few minutes of tinkering in the jobs menu, it should look something like this. Empty squares represent jobs villagers will never do because their skill is so low they would just make a mess of it. Do keep in mind some jobs are very time consuming and constant, like researching for example, so that villager can practically only do that job during his working hours. A job like hunting or growing plants is a seasonal and on-off job, so villagers specialized in these jobs should be used for construction, harvesting, hauling and other jobs which can also be done on and off. And that is everything I had planned for this topic. I wanted it as a short video, but it turned out to be much more complex, just like many things about this game which I find myself enjoying more and more each day. Expect more videos soon on topics you suggested, and please keep posting your advice and suggestions for other players in the comments. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!